fall, it's common to see cotton's soft, fluffy fibers growing in area fields. To learn what becomes of that cotton, let's head behind the walls of Commonwealth Gin.
He actually will come to this end and load the modules on this floor, and it operates as a roller. So those rollers are controlled mechanically to move that module. The spike teeth on those cylinders, they're turning, and they will break the module apart back into loose cotton.
Cotton's history in Virginia dates back to at least 1616, when colonists were growing cotton along the James River. Cotton's various components include cottonseed, which is the seed of the cotton plant. Seed cotton is the unginned cottonseed with the attached lint. Trash is a ginning byproduct composed of fragments of burrs and stems, immature cottonseed, lint, leaf fragments, and dirt. Ginned cotton is known as lint. This facility gins cotton grown in Virginia and North Carolina before it is transported to textile mills and other processing locations.
The first gin was actually built, first modern gin, over in Emporia the year before this one was built. Our cotton that we grow in the southeast and in the Delta is called upland cotton, and that type of cotton is used in everyday cotton common wear and not the fine garments and the real expensive stuff. The need for cotton was recognized by some folks. The expansion that really began in Virginia in the early 90s was driven initially by farmers that were just persistent, and it just sort of came together. I think it was about 5,000 acres of cotton in 1990, and then by 94, Virginia had around 45,000 acres. And by 95, it went over 100,000 acres. It's a much better adapted crop to our sandy soils, dry land production.
All this cotton is earmarked for transport. The bales in these warehouses, all labeled and documented, will be loaded into a truck with a forklift. Each truck holds between 80 and 90 bales.
This is part of the heater, pre-cleaning, heating and drying. This is conditioning the cotton to get it ready to go through the cotton gin. Cotton was a big deal in the 20s, and the cotton boll weevil showed up in Virginia last. It completely covered all of the United States growing area. It is not native to this area. It came out of Mexico and just moved up over probably about a 10-year period from Texas up and got to Virginia in the early 20s. That cylinder has the saws. This thing is spinning, and it's nothing but a saw, like a wood cutting saw, but it grabs the lint to pull the cotton lint off, and once the seed is completely cut away from the lint, the seed just drops through the crack.
This structure is filled with cottonseed. Whole cottonseed is an excellent feed for dairy cattle.
Virginia was a significant cotton growing state in the counties that are on the southeastern part of the state. So when it went away, it was because of economics that caused prices to go down to about 20 cents because of the polyester. That, on top of the boll weevil problem, which had a huge problem with production, made it unsustainable enterprise and went to essentially zero in the 70s for cotton acreage in Virginia. And then in the late 70s, once cotton started returning, certainly through the 80s, prices started getting good enough because of demand, and there just wasn't that much grown. And the boll weevil eradication program began in '78. So both things that took cotton out were reversed in the late 70s and early 80s as cotton started to slowly recover. The good thing about cotton, the infrastructure that didn't disappear from the southeast, is the textile industry. The old textile industry was in the East Coast and the Piedmont area more typically of North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, and Georgia, and there were some East Coast textile mills as well. That consolidated as labor just didn't make as much sense and technology improved, and so while it consolidated, it still remained on the East Coast. So the textile mills for a lot of the U.S. production exist in the same places they did 100 years ago.